Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Talks with Darlene. This episode is a cost of almost aligned clients. I've been there, and I can tell you yeah, whoa, we'll talk about it. Before we start, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, to like, comment, and share whatever it is that you would like to do. I would really appreciate it because I want the message to get out there. I really want this message to go far and wide. And by you doing that, it helps me. And thank you. Now, if you've been in business long enough, you've said yes to someone you shouldn't have. And most of the time, it does come from scarcity. We are worried, we feel that we need money, and you're like, oh, like maybe, okay, I'll just go for it. Now, it's not because they were terrible, and it's not because it was a disaster on paper. What happened was something felt slightly off and you overrid it. Maybe you needed the money, and that's where most of it comes from. Maybe it's been quiet. Maybe you told yourself you were being flexible, mature, or detached. And today in this episode, I'm going to talk about the cost of almost aligned clients. The half yes, the slight contraction, that quiet red flag you explained away, and what it really means to trust the space that opens when you say no. Now, what does the almost yes actually feel like? And when I say some of these things, you're probably going to go, yeah, actually, yes. So I'm going to take them slowly and I want you to tune in. Is this what it felt like for you? Because, of course, it's different for everybody. It's rarely dramatic, and for me, most of the time it wasn't dramatic. It was subtle. It could be a tightness in the chest, a hesitation before replying, a small internal that you brushed aside. Or it could be you begin negotiating with yourself. It's fine. I'm being too picky. It's good money. The body signals, the mind overrides. Nothing is technically wrong, which makes it harder to justify walking away. It's not misaligned enough to be obvious, just enough to feel heavy. Listening to that, did that feel like you? Now, almost aligned clients don't scream, it whispers. And when you ignore a whisper, it tends to get louder over time. And what are the practical costs of half yes clients? I've got quite a few. I've just added three in. You can probably, if you want, you can add in more to the comments. They require more emotional labor. Oh God, yes, they do. You over clarify, over deliver, and manage subtle tension that shouldn't be there. One of the biggest things that I did was this person had bought 12-month intuitive business readings where once a month, I think we actually met and did an intuitive business reading. Now, about 6 months in, she started to say, oh, could we do like a personal one? Now, I don't like doing personal readings. That's my own thing. And I overread my intuition. My body was so tense. And I went, oh yeah, just this once we'll do it. And yet every time we got on a call, it ended up being that. And by the end of it, I was so drained. And I said, I'm never doing that again. Never. Yeah, never. Now, boundaries blur quickly, which is what I talked about, because the foundation wasn't clean. You found yourself adjusting instead of leading. They drain disappropriate. The energy that they drain is, it's not right. Not because they're difficult, but because you were never fully anchored in the yes. You feel slightly on edge, slightly defensive, and even slightly tired. But the deeper cost isn't just time or energy, it's internal. Because when we override ourselves, there's an energetic cost to that. Every time you ignore your intuition for income, self-trust weakens. You teach yourself that your signals are negotiable, and they're not. I will get very friggin' firm on that. They are not negotiable. You begin to prioritize urgency over alignment, survival over discernment, and that pattern compounds. And energetically, you collapse your standards in the moment you accept what you knew wasn't right. And rebuilding that standard back takes effort and time. Now, this isn't about purity, it's about integrity with your own nervous system. And listening to this, I'm sure you can go, oh, yeah, that client, it was that client or that client. That's what it's about. It's about remembering those clients that weren't the aligned person for you. We cannot serve the world. That is why we niche down. That is why we get clear with our messaging, because we want those aligned clients. And this is where trusting the void becomes real, not poetic. And that void is a space between saying no and receiving the next yes. It can feel like you're exposed, especially if income is inconsistent. It activates fear. What if nothing replaces this? What if I made the wrong choice? Those thoughts are normal, and those thoughts are survival. And it's tough, it is really tough. When you're in survival and you're relying on clients coming in, it can be so tough to go, I can't work with that client. I've got to say no to that money. It's really hard. That void, though, is also recalibration. It clears any energetic entanglement and resets your baseline for what you accept. The more that you accept those almost aligned clients, the more that you're letting the boundaries go, the more you're telling the universe, you know what, it doesn't matter. Messaging doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. I'll just take on anybody, whether it works or not. It's not the right thing. I'm telling you from experience. I really want you to listen to this. And what happens is most people rush to fill the void because silence feels unsafe. So you haven't got clients coming in and you're feeling, oh my goodness, and you start talking. Guess what? Just silence. Allow silence to happen. So many times in conversation, we've got to fill that void. We can't have a void. We've always got to be talking. Guess what? Take a breath. Take a breath. Trusting the void requires more than mindset. It requires preparation. And I did a diploma of counselling, and I can tell you that that void, I got really comfortable with it because in that void is profound awareness for you and for your business. It is so profound. Now, what can you do to help yourself not feel cornered? Well, one, you can financially prepare yourself if possible. And I'm saying, all of this only if possible. Build margin wherever you can. Even a small buffer changes the quality of your decisions. Desperation narrows that discernment. And as I said, I'm speaking from experience. This is from experience. Separate long-term strategy from short-term fear. When one client feels like survival, you lose negotiation power. And you do. Now, talking about separating long-term strategy from short-term fear, if your cash flow is tight, address it directly instead of spiritualizing it. Talk to it. Have a conversation with it. Have a relationship with it. And what you can do is you can diversify revenue streams where possible. Don't rely on just one program. There are so many people out there that go, oh no, just have one signature program. That's all you need. That's it. Well, guess what? No, stuff that. I love having different things. because it works for me. And when one client feels like survival, this is when you can actually lose that negotiation power. Trust is easier when you're not in panic. So preparation protects your standards. And, like I'm adding little bits. I've got a few bank accounts and I'm adding little bits to them each fortnight. I do that so I can end up getting a beautiful buffer. Now, if you've already taken a half yes, that doesn't mean you failed. It does not mean you failed. Now, how do you repair your self-trust after an almost yes? Acknowledge it without defensiveness. I knew and I overrid it. That honesty restores clarity. You're being honest. You're going, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have worked with that. I shouldn't have said yes to that client. I overrid it. Okay, that's great. What did I experience before I said yes? Write down all of that stuff so that when it happens next time, you've got that awareness. Tighten your boundaries immediately instead of waiting for it to get bad enough. You can recalibrate mid-contract. Depending on what you offer, you can do what you want. It's your business. Recommit to your standards in writing. Define what a full yes actually feels like so you recognize it next time. Self-trust is not lost permanently. It does weaken through repetition, though, and it strengthens through correction. The goal isn't perfection, it's alignment over time. And saying no when you need money is not casual. It requires steadiness. It requires practice. But so does continuing to override yourself and call it strategy. Almost aligned clients don't just cost you hours, they cost you clarity. They cost you energy, and they cost you trust in your own discernment. The space after a no can feel so uncomfortable, quiet, exposed. But that space is not emptiness, it's recalibration. And when you prepare practically and respond honestly when you slip, that void stops feeling terrifying. And I'll tell you, when I was doing the diploma counseling, that void felt terrifying. And it stops that when you practice. It starts feeling powerful because you're no longer choosing from fear, you're choosing from your standards. And that is where you want to choose from. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you on the next video.